Hello and welcome to Cracking On with the Sun. Now, the episode 2 of Love Island All Stars was just full of tension. There was just a lot to do with the exes, I felt, last night. Lots of drama, lots of will they, won't they, awkward moments.
Yeah, it's like me when I walk down Clapham High Street. It's like, like, oh God. But exactly, like that's my point. When in real life are you ever encountered by that many exes so quickly, having to have those conversations in real life? And it's giving, to borrow a phrase. Speaking of which, Amanda has had a chat with one of the Islanders' exes, and they'll be spilling the beans on what went on between them later in the podcast. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be good.
It's very, very juicy. I can't believe it's only episode 2 and there's been so much that's happened already. Kind of catch us up with last night's episode.
So for me, right now, that villa is a girls' world. Mm-hmm. The girls are all incredible. We knew that already. But these women are being dealt with these very emotional, high-octane situations, and they're owning it. Yeah. So Molly, she's in there. Callum chose to couple up with his ex. So he had that decision to make of whether he would steal one of the Islanders' girls or get back with his ex, Molly. He chose Molly. The mind spins, but she's owning it. She's not reeling from this. She is going out there and she's just chatting up the other boys instead.
She's putting all of us heartbroken exes to shame because she's just handling it so well. She doesn't seem to be phased at all. No. She's cracking on. She's pulling Lewis for chats.
Yeah.
And it's driving Callum crazy, isn't it?
You know what I was reminded of? Do you remember in the Adam Collard 1.0 series when Rosie and Megan Barton Hansen did that whole dressing up sexy photo shoot to show him what he was missing?
Yes, that was brilliant. I love stuff like that.
It's
girl
kind of
power
like
moment.
A real girl power moment.
Yeah.
But Molly's kind of doing it in this like really classy way of not even, she's showing him what he's missing, but just in a really like casual way, which
it's
I
working
love.
Out exactly how you'd want it after a breakup, because all of the guys are saying to Callum, look, I'm going to crack on with your ex,
missus,
you know,
yeah,
because she's stunning, she's the best looking here, and he's going, what have I let go here? What this is awful.
Definitely, and you can see it all playing out. So I love that. The other thing I love, Kaz. Again, we knew this from her the first time around, but she's just owning it, pulling whoever she wants for a chat. When she straddled Lewis in the challenge, again, I was just like, girl, that thong bikini, loving it.
God, her body is insane, isn't it?
Amazing.
And then Hannah Elizabeth.
An icon.
Could you get any more of an icon?
Honestly.
I mean, last night's outfit, I felt like that was a real moment in Love Island history that we'll look back on, because it was, how would you even describe it? I saw some people calling it maybe like a fortune teller vibes.
Yeah, so it was kind of like gypsy fortune teller / Bako foil, but just brilliant. Like, if she was wrapped in foil, then it was hot. So I just think that she I don't get the feeling she's going to find love in that villa, because I just don't think any of the men can touch her in terms of sort of like...
and that's how I would actually recap that episode, is all of the guys don't seem worthy of our girls in there.
Yes.
And Georgia Steele, she was the one that was kind of... She seems to be chasing after Toby, and I'm like, girl,
stop it.
You are 10 times...
leagues.
You know, I mean, it's you can't even measure it. He needs to be working and chasing after her, I think.
The thing that I thought was really interesting just generally is looking at Love Island as a social experiment, a bit highbrow, but how it's changed over the last 10 years for me is it really shows how relationships between men and women have changed. Because if you look back at earlier series, for example, what we've just said about Rosie and Megan trying to get back at the boys by doing a sort of very obvious sexy photo shoot, it feels like even just in the last few years we've moved on from that as women, and now the women are running that villa. Like you say, apart from Georgia Steele chasing Toby, the girls are bossing this. Mm-hmm. You know, it's them, Demi, who's got multiple men who are after her and that kind of thing. And I think that that's really interesting, just to look at how the dynamics between them all are different over just the last 10 series of Love Island.
Yeah, that's such an excellent point. We even saw a little clip of Demi and Chris in bed together. I don't know if you kind of noticed that. It was a blink you'd miss it, but there was some ruffling of the bed sheets.
It was tented.
And you know, first night we were like, go girl, because Demi was unlucky in the past, so there she is in there, and she just seems to be embracing it. And then she came out and had a conversation the next day, and she said to the girls, look, if he's not chasing, you know, then I'm not bothered. Like, I want to. She wants to. I attract, and again, it's linking into that real girl power. Yeah. They know what they want, and they've come back sort of stronger than ever this year. And that's what Love Island is so brilliant about, and how it's actually can be dangerous in some ways, because we've got lots of young viewers who are watching, and we want to make sure that they are being represented, that they can see role models for themselves, that we don't see girls kind of falling about after these hopeless men.
100%.
And I think this series is proving already to be a bit of a turning point. Everyone seems to be following in Liberty's her mindset from a few series ago with Jake. Speaking of,
well, I was just going to say, like, shock horror, 2 women are sat here being like, go the girls. So I actually think we should talk about Jake, because he tonight on the episode talks about why he's decided to leave the villa. So obviously the Sun revealed that yesterday he had quit after just a few hours in the villa. And tonight he talks about why. And I think that, again, this is another real moment of him having a kind of self-love, kind of just like Liberty. But it's a man owning his emotions, which is another really important thing for young people. So we'll see him basically talk about how he's realised he's just not really in the place to find love. He's taking up a space for someone who might be there for sort of, you know, reasons because they want to go after someone. And he goes, I'm just going to bow out here. So brilliant.
Yeah, taking control and seeing the situation that maybe just it wasn't for him and realising it.
Yeah.
So we saw a flash in the teaser for Wednesday night's show that Jake was sat down with Maya in a sort of head-to-head, you know, going to be explained. Do you think he'll be emotional in that, or do you think he'll just sort of be like, yeah, okay, I'm gone now, that's it?
Yeah, so what we're hearing is it was quite an emotional chat. Right. So a bit of insider goss here. Obviously no one was expecting any of them to leave, and Maya was literally dragged out of bed. So it was we need you on set, get into glam, we need you to do this chat with Jake.
I bet she didn't even need to get into glam. That girl looks insane, like whatever time of day.
Maya Jama is peak, I woke up like this.
Yes.
But yes, she was needed on set because obviously this year, the real change to the series is those exit chats happen at exit. At point of exit, there's no after sun. It's happening outside the villa on a newly built set. So Maya was quite literally, girl, get out those joggers, get in this dress, and let's do this chat.
That's such a better format for me.
Oh, brilliant, because it's the real emotion, isn't it? And it's before they've probably had a chance to speak to their manager. Yes. Before they've probably had a chance to look at Twitter.
Looking at the reaction on social media. So maybe apologies if there's been something there's been controversy in there. It won't be as genuine if they've come out and had a chance to look and see that the backlash against them. So
but apparently it's an emotional chat. It's pretty raw. Maya really pulls that emotion out of him, and he sort of talks about how it was sort of confronting Liberty. He has a bit of a moment where he realizes his past behavior wasn't great and that kind of thing. So really look forward to seeing that tonight.
I know, I can't wait for that. And we saw Liberty also get emotional in this teaser clip when Jake's announcing that he's leaving. Do you think she'll feel a little bit of guilt because of the situation, maybe knowing that it's to do with her?
I think so, because I mean, even if her knowing it's not necessarily because of her, you're going to have that moment of, did I even have like 1% impact on this situation, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of impact on situations, though, let's talk about Lewis.
So Lewis Morrison, Louis, no, not Louis, Lewis. That's what I'm trying to get into my head. So yes, he, I don't know, last night he seemed to sort of show a bit of a flash of anger. I don't know if you noticed that when Georgia Harrison kind of called him Steele.
Yeah.
When Georgia Steele called him out for being the most fake, and it was
in that game player in that challenge,
and it was in that challenge that was a brilliant challenge, by the way, and I loved how early it's come because you kind of get all the gossip from everyone, and it ruffles feathers. She called him out and she said, look, you know the history. And it's because he had a baby with Callie Jane Beach, who was in series 1 of Love Island with him.
Yeah, right. Let's just get up the Lewis relationship
timeline here.
So, series 1, he went back into the villa. No, he was in the villa and then Callie came in.
Yes, yeah.
So they were exes before the show and then she came on to win him back. So his relationships were already woven into Love Island history. They coupled up on the show, left together, and then went to have a baby, didn't they?
Yeah, because they got to the final. The popular couple. They were both kind of more quiet, I think, in that series.
Yeah.
And yeah, they came out and they were together for about 3 years until they had their daughter Vienna.
Which in Love Island terms, that's a long relationship.
And it was the first Love Island baby. You're right. It's, and that's a historic moment. They can Vienna can proudly say first Love Island baby. So fast forward, they've broken up. Things aren't great between them. They're co-parenting as best they can, but now they've moved on with other people. Callie is engaged now.
Yes.
And Georgia, she is very good friends with Callie.
Right. Okay.
Best friends, in fact. Yeah. Spend a lot of time together. She knows all the background into Lewis and Callie's relationship. So when she was in that game, she wasted no time in getting a real dig in.
She did. She said, well, obviously, I'm best friends with your ex, so he did not like it. He looked angry.
He looked furious. Yeah. I was like, lighten up. Someone's got to be chosen. Yeah. But he was like, I don't understand what that makes me a game player or makes me fake or da-da-da. Yeah. I just thought, well, come on, someone's got to be chosen. She kind of maybe knows a little bit more. She's looking outside the villa, isn't she?
But she did chicken out a little bit. She didn't really go on to expand on her reasons.
Yeah.
But someone who hasn't chickened out is another of Lewis's exes. So tell me about this chat that you've had.
Yeah, so I've spoken to Chloe Elizabeth. So she is the mum of Lewis's second child, a little boy called Romeo.
Right.
Very gorgeous. And they split up probably a year and a half ago. And since then, there's been a lot of problems between them. She has claimed in a new interview with The Sun that Lewis hasn't been paying his child maintenance fees for Romeo.
Wow.
Since July 2023.
Wow.
So he's in arrears now. And she's just been saying, next thing she knows, she's switching on the TV and there he is on Love Island All Stars.
Oh my gosh.
And she claims that Romeo has not seen his dad very much and that he'll have maybe by the end of this season of Love Island All Stars seen him more on the TV than in real life. Ooh. Which is really, really sad. And, we've got to remember this is a family at the heart of all of this. I think what's kind of sparked all of this off is the fact that they've, that in Lewis's VT in the launch episode, he brought up the fact that he's a proud dad. And therefore, it was kind of, people who know them went onto Twitter. You can see so many comments about them. We actually spoke to Lewis just before he went in, just to make sure that we could get his side of the story. And he said, out of respect for my children and their mothers, I do not wish to discuss personal matters publicly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we hear from Chloe Elizabeth?
Yes.
And Romeo's going to look at a certain man on telly and not have a clue that is his dad.
I've changed a lot since first Love Island. Honestly, the most proud dad.
It's got I think I'm glad that it's got people like Georgia Harrison in it because she's did a lot of good for I think the women in the world in general. So it is good that they've got people like that on it, but it's a shame that they've give someone kind of an opportunity to role model other young people that could be watching it by certain choices that people that they've put on. But then you see his lifestyle and see he's out, he's on holidays, he drives a nice car, he lives in a nice house in a nice area. And it's I still live at my mum's and so I don't have bills and stuff. And I probably don't make as much money as he does because he's got his own business and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm still able to even just afford to keep him going. Do you know what I mean? And I just think even he's not just can't just text him, but listen, I've not got any money this week, but I'll give you 20 quid next week. We're not asking for bucket loads, do you know what I mean? Just for help. And so I'll just never understand how we can afford his lifestyle. It makes me a bit sad for the kids that this is what they're having to watch, like, which I think ITV's not thought about. Like, they've got 2 little young children here who's been not even told what their dad's doing, where they're going, and obviously just no contact for 5 weeks. I mean, I'm used to it. I don't get contact anyways, but it's like, especially with Vienna, like, and she doesn't know where her dad's going. She doesn't know she's not going to see her dad. So he's happy. And yeah, the thing that doesn't so much upset me, but it makes us feel for Romeo that if, say, like, my mum and my parents and stuff love Love Island. I mean, I don't think they'll watch it and stuff this year, but that there's a possibility that Romeo would see his dad more on telly than what he would in person, or what he ever has in person. Like, that's just something that I've kind of not got my head around yet. Like, because I think if Romeo was to see Louis on telly, he wouldn't know who he was. He wouldn't have a clue.
Funny things that you spotted in the episode.
Let's move on to lighter topics.
Lighter stuff.
Yes.
Have you noticed that we haven't had any texts yet? Any phones?
We actually haven't
seen the phones, the mobiles. There's been nothing.
Oh, I did see, and this made me laugh the other day, when Georgia Harrison was lying on the bed, you did not enjoy her with her feet on the bed. Yeah. She had it like tucked in the back of her bikini.
Okay.
Like hanging on for dear life under a string. But you're right, that's the only time I've seen a phone.
That's as if she's like ready in case there is an alert.
Yeah.
And I always think I'd have lost mine. It'd be somewhere, because where do you put it? That's actually you've got nothing on practically.
Yeah.
And you're waiting this text. I'd be searching all over the villa for it.
They need to get them those like lanyards that people wear now with their mobile phones on.
Yeah.
That's me being practical and a nana again. This is becoming a thing.
This is a theme. Also, we've got I don't know if you noticed this, Mitch recycling some of his previous chat-up lines from his former series.
Yeah.
He just seems to, if he likes someone, he just wants to tell them that he wants to marry them straight away. And a lot of people have been saying that he's love-bombing Liberty. What do we think of them, by the way? Liberty and Mitch.
I mean, on paper, they are each other's types.
Yes.
However,
they look great together, actually.
Yeah, but I think, as you say, the Mitch recycling his chat-up lines just makes it feel very like he's just
transactional, and that he has that wave of Jake about him. He has that. She's been there, done that, been with that kind of person.
Yeah.
We want her to have a fresh start.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of people saying that they're angry about her going for Mitch because they want her to go for someone nicer who's going to treat her really well.
Yeah. I feel really sad about the situation. If you were on a first date, right, and a lad said to you, like, oh my gosh, we're so good, we're going to get married, I would leave.
I would get the ick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's so...
Why?
Because that is the type of love bombing that I think you have to be aware of.
Yeah.
It's sort of narcissists are like that, aren't they? They say that it's someone who's just trying to blow you out the water, just make you feel like this is it. And then they kind of get away with other stuff.
Like, we're not professional daters. And even us mere mortals...
Speak for yourself, okay.
Well, I try. And even us sort of mere mortals find that suspicious behaviour, right? So why do these girls who know this world still find it so like, oh, what is it about someone like Mitch saying, oh, we're going to get married, that makes them go, oh.
I know.
Is it because even in these modern days of reality shows and tell-alls and Instagrams, we all still want the Disney fairy tale?
I think so. I think that's a good point. I think, and maybe, to be cynical again, but maybe Liberty is just playing the game too. We're talking about girl power. We're talking about the women sort of knowing what they want, and maybe she's seen an opportunity. Okay, well, Mitch is going for this. I'm going to play him at his own game. Yeah. And she's playing up to it.
I'll be your Sleeping Beauty if you'll be my Prince Charming.
Exactly.
No one has ever said to Mitch Taylor from Sheffield before. But there we go. So we've got another fab episode to look forward to tonight. I think tonight's all about Jake's exit, personally.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think I want to sort of hear, was there a moment that made him think, yeah, this isn't for me?
Yeah.
We know there's been a build-up. Last night in that challenge, we saw Liberty sort of call him out, saying that she got the ick because of his foot fetish. And you know, there's just been a lot of sort of digs at him. He's being left out. He's got no love interest in there. Although he did get a very tasty snog from Hannah Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It was like quite intense. I thought, oh, I shouldn't be watching this. So it'll be interesting to see if there was one moment where actually, yeah, he thought, this isn't for me. I know you said it doesn't kick off majorly, but there's got to be something that's happened that's put that idea in his head to just head out. I think Maya always gets to the bottom of it. I think she'll be brilliant and she'll be really honest with him and be like, look, what's this all about, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be really exciting to hear
Yeah,
about.
I agree. Well, I can't wait to dissect it all with you tomorrow morning.
Yes, I'll see you then.
Join us tomorrow for more Cracking On with the Sun.